My father and stepmother used my emergency fund to pay for their lavish cruise while I was recovering from surgery, saying I didn't need IT anyway. They had no idea I'd already moved my real savings and reported the cards stolen. I always knew they'd betray me. I just didn't expect them to do it while I was literally unconscious on an operating table. My name is Vanessa, and I've spent 29 years being the good daughter, the responsible one, the dependable one, the one who always comes through when my father and stepmother need anything. Money, time, emotional support. You name it, I've provided it. But something about the way Josephine's eyes lit up when I mentioned my surgery date made my stomach turn. Of course, we'll help you recover, sweetie, she cooed, adjusting her designer glasses. That's what family is for. I was sitting at their kitchen counter 3 weeks before my scheduled abdominal surgery, watching my father Earl pretend to read the newspaper while Josephine hovered nearby, the same kitchen where I'd spent countless hours helping them sort out their financial messes over the years. I just need someone to have emergency access to my account just in case something goes wrong, I explained, sliding the spare debit card across the counter. It's strictly for medical emergencies only. My father barely looked up. You worry too much, Van. We've got you covered. That night, as I was gathering my things to leave, I heard Josephine's voice floating from their bedroom. Timing the cruise just right. She'll be too out of it to even notice. I froze in the hallway, my hand clutching my purse. A familiar heaviness settled in my chest, the weight of being right about something you desperately wished you were wrong about. Everything okay? My friend Aaron texted later that night after I called to update him. They're planning something, I wrote back. Good thing we moved most of my money last month. Aaron had helped me set up a separate account at a different bank weeks ago, transferring the bulk of my savings there. The account my father and stepmother had access to, that was my decoy, containing just enough to seem plausible but not enough to destroy me when they inevitably tried to drain it. You're being paranoid, Rachel, my CO worker said over lunch the next day. They're your parents, they wouldn't. I cut her off. You don't know them like I do. That afternoon, Josephine called me 5 times, each voicemail more syrupy than the last. Darling, I was thinking about your recovery. You'll need someone to check on you daily. Maybe you should stay with us. I deleted each message. The day before my surgery, I visited my bank one last time. The teller smiled as she verified the card's activation. Remember, she said, you can always report unauthorized charges through our online portal. I know, I replied quietly. I've already bookmarked it. That evening, Noel, my stepsister, dropped by unexpectedly. Mom's so worried about you, she said, sprawling across my couch uninvited. She can barely focus on anything else. I caught her scrolling through Mediterranean cruise packages on her phone when she thought I wasn't looking. The morning of my surgery, my father and Josephine drove me to the hospital. She kept touching my arm, her French manicure catching the fluorescent lights. Don't worry about anything, she said. We'll take care of everything. I watched them in the rearview mirror as they left the hospital parking lot. Josephine was already on her phone, probably booking those cruise tickets she thought I didn't know about. My last conscious thought before the anesthesia took hold was of my real emergency fund, safely tucked away where they couldn't touch it. The account they had access to? It contained exactly the amount of a Mediterranean cruise package for 2, plus a little extra for shopping. I'd calculated it down to the dollar. Some might call it cynical to plan for your own family's betrayal. I call it survival. The nurse counted down from 10. As everything faded to black, I thought about Josephine's whispered conversation about cruise timing. About my father's dismissive waves whenever I mentioned boundaries, about all the times they'd taken advantage of my good nature. They thought I was the reliable one, the pushover, the ATM with a daughter's face. They were about to learn how wrong they were. But first, I had a surgery to survive. And when I woke up? Well, that's when the real operation would begin. The first thing I noticed when I woke up was the pain. The second was the notification sound from my phone. Transaction alert, 4th 9 noon 99.99 and at Royal Caribbean Cruises. My vision was still blurry from the anesthesia, but I could make out the timestamp, just 2 hours after my surgery began. The nurses had told my family it would take at least 4 hours. They couldn't even wait until I was out of surgery. How are you feeling? The nurse adjusted my IV drip. Your family left about an hour ago. Said they had some urgent business to attend to. I'm sure they did. I swiped through my banking app, watching the charges roll in like storm clouds. Designer boutique, $800 and $900 Norna, luxury luggage set, $2 few $100, first class flight upgrades, $1,500. Do you need anything for the pain? The nurse asked. Just my phone charger, I whispered. Please. As soon as she left, I texted Aaron. They did it. Earlier than we expected. His response was immediate. Want me to start documenting the transactions? Yes. Everything. The room was quiet except for the steady beep of monitors when Josephine swept in later that evening, wearing a new Gucci scarf I was pretty sure I had just paid for. Oh, darling. She air-kissed somewhere near my cheek. You look absolutely dreadful, but the doctor says everything went perfectly. Where's Dad? My voice was raspy. Shopping for vacation clothes. We have the most wonderful news. She perched on the edge of my bed, her excitement barely contained. Your father and I are going on a Mediterranean cruise. Isn't that fantastic? I kept my face neutral, despite the burning in my surgical incision. A cruise? Now. Well, you're doing fine, aren't you? The doctor said you'd be released in a few days, and the deal was just too good to pass up. She pulled out her phone, showing me pictures of a luxury suite. Look at this room. We leave in 3 days. My phone buzzed again. Another transaction alert. That reminds me, Josephine continued. We had to use your emergency card for the booking. The cruise line only accepted certain cards, you see. We'll pay you back, of course, I echoed, thinking about the fraud report forms already saved in my drafts folder. Rachel visited that evening after Josephine left. Holy shit, she whispered, scrolling through my transaction history. They really did it. They actually did it. They're leaving in 3 days, I said, adjusting my position carefully. While I'm still here, that's actually evil. Rachel's face flushed with anger. Want me to post about it? I have a pretty big following. Not yet. I reached for my water. Let them dig the hole deeper. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not because of the pain, but because of the constant ping of notifications, spa packages, shore excursions. Something called a drink package upgrade. My father finally showed up the next morning wearing a new watch. You look good, kiddo. He kissed my forehead. Listen. About the cruise, Josephine told me. You understand, right? We've been under so much stress watching you go through this. We need a break. He patted my hand. You're always so good about these things. The nurse came in to check my vitals. Blood pressure's a bit high. She frowned. I wondered why. Noel burst in that afternoon, practically vibrating with excitement. Mum just bought me a first-class ticket to join them. She waved her phone in my face. Look at these excursions we booked: Tave swimming in Greece, wine tasting in Italy. My phone buzzed. Transaction alert. 299. 999 to 9,999. That's great, I managed. I need to rest now. Oh, right, your surgery thing. Noel headed for the door. By the way, Mom used your car for my ticket to family emergency fund and all that. You're the best. After she left, I opened my banking app one last time. The decoy account was almost empty now. Just as planned, I texted Aaron. Time to move to phase 2. Then, I picked up my phone and dialed the bank's fraud hotline number I'd saved weeks ago. As it rang, I thought about all the times they'd taken advantage of me, all the times I'd stayed quiet to keep the peace. Fraud Prevention Department. A voice answered. How can I help you? I took a deep breath, pressed record on my phone's voice memo app, and began. I'd like to report unauthorized charges on my card. I've been in the hospital under anesthesia, and someone has been using my emergency fund for cruise packages and luxury shopping. The woman on the other end started typing. Can you tell me when you first noticed these charges? I smiled slightly, thinking of the Mediterranean waters my father and Josephine would never see. Let me tell you everything. Ma'am, I'm looking at the security footage from Nordstrom right now. Julius, the bank fraud investigator, said through my hospital room phone. The timestamp shows your stepmother using your card at 2:47 p.m. on Tuesday. According to your medical records, you were in surgery from 1:30 p.m. until 5:45 p.m. that day. I adjusted my position in the hospital bed, wincing at the pool of stitches. Yes, that's correct. And you're saying you never authorized anyone to make luxury purchases with this card? The card was for medical emergencies only. I have texts and emails specifically stating this. I glanced at my laptop, where Aaron had helped me organize a folder of evidence. I can forward those to you. Please do. Keys clicked in the background. We're also seeing multiple travel charges, Mediterranean cruise packages, first-class flights, spa bookings. While I was unconscious, I added quietly, Miss Reynolds, this is looking like a clear case of fraud. We'll need to freeze the account immediately. I thought about Josephine probably shopping for cruise wear right now. Of course. Whatever you need to do. After hanging up, I opened my banking app and submitted the official fraud report form. Each section felt like another brick in a wall between me and my family's exploitation. Rachel brought me lunch and watched me fill out the forms. "Look at this," she said, showing me her phone. "Your stepmother's already posting about the cruise on Instagram. Tagged the cruise line and everything." "Perfect," I muttered, taking screenshots. More evidence. My phone buzzed with a text from Noel. "OMG. Why isn't your card working? Mom's trying to buy matching resort wear for us." I didn't respond. Aaron called next. "The bank's fraud department just requested access to your father's and Josephine's social media posts. Apparently, they're building quite a case." "Good." I attached another document to my report. How long until a commotion in the hallway cut me off? Josephine's voice carried through the door. "This is ridiculous. The card must be malfunctioning." I quickly ended the call as she burst into my room, face flushed with anger. "Vanessa darling. There seems to be some issue with your card. All our purchases are being declined." "Really?" I kept my voice neutral. "How strange. We need to call your bank immediately. We still have so much shopping to do before the cruise." She pulled out her phone. "Actually," I said, pressing the nurse call button, "I'm not supposed to have visitors right now. Doctor's orders." But the nurse appeared right on cue. "I'm sorry, ma'am, but the patient needs rest. You'll have to leave." After Josephine stormed out, I opened my email to find a message from Julius. Update on case Sugar 4789. Security footage from multiple locations confirms unauthorized use of your card while you were under medical care. We've also documented social media posts showing premeditation of travel plans. The cruise line has been notified of potential fraud charges. My phone started ringing. My father's number. I declined the call. Then, a text from him. "What the hell is going on? The cruise line just called about fraud allegations." Another buzz. "Answer your phone right now, young lady." And another, "You're making a huge mistake." I turned off my phone and opened my laptop instead. The fraud department had sent a secure link to upload additional evidence. I clicked through files Aaron had helped me prepare. Screenshots of Josephine's whispered cruise plans dated before my surgery. Bank statements showing the exact times of purchases. Medical records proving I was under anesthesia. Rachel squeezed my hand. "You okay?" "Better than okay." I hit submit on the final form. "I'm free." The next morning, Julius called again. "Miss Reynolds, I wanted to let you know that we've escalated this case. Given the amount involved and the clear evidence of premeditated fraud, this may result in criminal charges." "I understand." I watched sunlight creep across my hospital room floor. "What happens next?" "The cruise line has already canceled their booking. Their cards are frozen. And given your stepmother's use of your identity for spa bookings, we are looking at potential identity theft charges as well." My incision hurt less today. Or maybe it was just the satisfaction numbing the pain. "One more thing," Julius added. "We've notified their banks and credit card companies. This will likely affect their credit scores and banking relationships for years to come." After hanging up, I finally turned my phone back on. 57 missed calls, 38 text messages, 4 voicemails. I deleted them all without listening. Then I texted Aaron. "It's done." His response made me smile. How does revenge feel from a hospital bed? I looked at the fraud report confirmation on my laptop, then at the empty chair where Josephine had sat showing off cruise pictures just days ago. "Like healing," I wrote back. "It feels like healing." 5 days after my surgery, I was finally home, propped up in bed with my laptop, watching my family's dream vacation implode in real time through social media. Sunset drinks on our balcony. Blessed Fialra's Mediterranean cruise, Josephine's latest Instagram post read. The timestamp showed it was posted just minutes before the cruise line's fraud department would have received the notification. My phone buzzed. It was Aaron. "You seeing this train wreck?" "Every glorious second," I replied. Noel went live on Instagram, broadcasting from what looked like a luxury boutique on the ship. "Mom's treating us to a shopping spree before dinner." "Love you, Mom," Rachel called immediately. Are they seriously still posting? Don't they know they're just providing more evidence? "They think they're untouchable," I said, taking screenshots. "Always have." A notification popped up, an email from Julius. "Ms. Reynolds, the cruise line security team has requested copies of our fraud investigation files. Their legal department is involved now. I forwarded him Josephine's latest posts. Aaron came over with groceries and helped me document everything. Look at this, he said, pulling up a cruise forum. Your stepmother's been bragging in the cruise Facebook groups about their sweet upgrade. Someone commented asking how they afforded it. What did she say? That their generous daughter wanted to treat them after their selfless care during her surgery. He shook his head. The comments are not kind. My phone lit up with a text from Noel. The ship's purser just came to our cabin, asking weird questions about payment. What did you do? I set my phone face down without responding. Rachel brought dinner and her laptop. You're trending in the cruise community, she said, pulling up various social media posts. Someone connected the dots between Josephine's posts and a viral story about credit card fraud. The comments are brutal. Good, I said, taking small bites of soup. Let them see who my family really is. A notification from the bank's fraud department popped up. Security footage from ship's boutique confirms additional unauthorized charges. Cruise line requesting passenger removal at next port. Aaron whistled. That's going to be an expensive taxi ride home from Greece. My father's number flashed on my phone. Against my better judgment, I answered. What the hell have you done? He shouted. Do you know how embarrassing this is? About as embarrassing as stealing from your daughter while she's in surgery? We were going to pay you back. This is ridiculous. They're threatening to remove us from the ship. Actions have consequences, Dad. You ungrateful. I hung up before he could finish. Josephine's next Instagram post appeared minutes later. Some people just can't handle seeing others happy. Start toxic family, start jealousy. Rachel snorted. The comments are destroying her. Look. Aaron pointed to his screen. Someone found her real estate license information and is asking if fraud allegations affect her ability to sell houses. My phone buzzed again. Julius. Port authorities have been notified. Your father and stepmother will be escorted off the ship tomorrow morning in Athens. Local police may be involved due to international fraud implications. I leaned back against my pillows, feeling a different kind of pain now. The bittersweet ache of watching karma unfold. Noel's next text was almost frantic. They're making us pack now. Security is outside our door. Mom's crying. Dad's threatening lawsuits. What did you tell the bank? The truth. I texted back, then blocked her number. Rachel refreshed the cruise forum. Someone just posted a video of your stepmother arguing with ship security. It's going viral. Save it, I said quietly. Save everything. Aaron squeezed my hand. You okay? I nodded, watching as Josephine's Instagram story showed her mascara-streaked face. Being attacked and humiliated by someone we trusted. Family betrayal is the worst kind. The irony would have been funny if it wasn't so sad. A final email from Julius arrived. Miss Reynolds, just to update you. Your father and stepmother will be removed from the ship at 6 a.m. Athens time. Their remaining cruise balance of $12,000 is now their responsibility. The cruise line is considering legal action for fraud and misrepresentation. I closed my laptop and looked at the get well cards on my nightstand. None were from my family. They'd been too busy shopping for their cruise to send any. Want me to stay tonight? Rachel offered. I shook my head. I'm good. Actually, I'm better than I've been in years. After they left, I watched the sunset through my window, thinking about my father and stepmother, frantically packing their new designer clothes, preparing for their walk of shame off the ship. My phone buzzed one last time, a text from Julius. Security cameras installed. If they try to approach your house after returning, we'll have evidence. I smiled, turned off my phone, and finally let myself rest. Tomorrow would bring more drama, but for now, I had the satisfaction of knowing that somewhere in the Mediterranean, my family was learning that karma travels by cruise ship too. Your father claims you authorized the cruise as a thank you gift, Julius said, setting his laptop on my coffee table. He submitted a formal dispute. I was finally well enough to sit in my living room, a week after my family's cruise debacle. Julius had requested an in-person meeting to review their counterclaims. Really? I shifted carefully on the couch. And how exactly did I authorize this while unconscious? He says you discussed it before the surgery. Julius pulled up some documents. However, the timestamps tell a different story. The first purchase was made at 2:47 p.m. while you were still in surgery. We have the hospital records confirming you were under anesthesia from 1:30 p.m. to 5:45 p.m. And the security footage shows your stepmother using your card at multiple locations. He turned the laptop toward me. Here she is at Nordstrom, then the cruise line office, then that luxury luggage store, all while you were in surgery. Rachel, who'd insisted on being present, leaned forward. What about all their social media posts? Those have been interesting. Julius smiled slightly. Especially the ones where they discussed planning the cruise weeks before the surgery. Very helpful for our investigation. My phone buzzed. Another angry text from Noel. They're holding us in Athens. Mom's real estate broker called about her license being under review. This is all your fault. I showed Julius the message. Ah, yes, about that, he said, pulling up another document. Your stepmother used your name and ID for several spa bookings on the ship. That's identity theft. The real estate board takes fraud allegations very seriously. How seriously? Rachel asked. Serious enough that her broker has suspended her ability to show properties pending investigation. My father's number flashed on my phone. I declined the call. They're not taking this well, Julius observed. We've received multiple aggressive emails from them. Your father threatened legal action. Against who? I asked. The bank? The cruise line? Me? All of the above. However, Julius's tone turned serious. Making threats during a fraud investigation only makes things worse. The cruise line has already forwarded everything to their legal department. A knock at the door made me jump. Aaron peeked in. Sorry I'm late. Did I miss anything good? Just getting to the best part, Julia said, pulling up another file. We've frozen their joint account pending investigation, standard procedure in fraud cases. However, it seems they had several automatic payments scheduled. Including their mortgage, I finished. I know. Rachel's eyes widened. Oh my God. Additionally, Julius continued, using a card that's under fraud investigation is a separate offense. They continued making purchases even after being notified of the investigation. How much trouble are they in? Aaron asked. The cruise line wants full reimbursement plus penalties. The bank is considering pressing charges for fraud and identity theft. And given the international nature of some transactions, there could be additional complications. My phone buzzed again, a voicemail from Josephine. You vindictive little do you know what you've done? They're talking about pressing charges. Your father might lose his job if this gets out. Call us back immediately. I deleted it without finishing. What happens next? I asked Julius. Well, they're currently stranded in Athens until this is sorted out. Their credit cards are frozen. The cruise line has banned them from future bookings. And he checked his notes. Ah, yes. The bank is closing all their accounts. We have a zero-tolerance policy for fraud. Aaron whistled. That's going to make paying bills interesting. Speaking of bills, Julius added, they'll be responsible for their own return flights. First-class tickets purchased with fraudulent funds have been cancelled. Rachel scrolled through her phone. The cruise forms are brutal. Someone recognized them from the security escort off the ship. It's trending. I should mention, Julius said, packing up his laptop. They may try to contact you directly when they return. I'd strongly advise against engaging. Let everything go through proper channels. Don't worry, I said. I have no interest in speaking to them. After Julius left, Aaron and Rachel stayed with me, ordering dinner and helping me document new developments. My phone kept buzzing with messages from family members I hadn't heard from in years. All suddenly concerned about the situation. Your cousin just posted about this in a financial advice group, Rachel said. It's getting hundreds of comments, most of them supporting you, Aaron added. My phone lit up with a text from Julius. Update. Your father and stepmother just tried to access their frozen accounts from Greece. Multiple failed attempts. Each attempt is being logged as evidence. I turned off my phone and looked at my friends. I should feel bad about this, shouldn't I? Rachel squeezed my hand. They stole from you while you were having surgery. They deserve everything coming to them. Besides, Aaron added, Karma needed a first-class ticket home anyway. I smiled, feeling the weight of years of manipulation finally lifting. Outside, a storm was brewing, much like the one my family was facing in Athens. But for the first time in years, I was safely sheltered from their chaos, watching justice unfold from a distance. The pounding on my front door started at 7 a.m. Exactly 3 days after their humiliating return from Athens. Vanessa, open this door right now. Josephine's voice carried through the wood. We know you're in there. I was already dressed and waiting, my packed bags by the door. Aaron's car was parked around the corner, ready to help me move to my new apartment, one whose address my family wouldn't know. Coming? I called calmly, picking up the thick manila folder I'd prepared. I opened the door to find my father and Josephine on my doorstep, looking considerably less polished than their cruise photos. Dark circles under their eyes, wrinkled clothes. Flying economy class hadn't agreed with them. "You vindictive little witch," Josephine spat, trying to push past me into the house. "Do you have any idea what you've done to us?" "Please come in." I stepped aside, my voice steady. "I've been expecting you." My father stormed into the living room, his face red. "The bank closed all our accounts. The cruise line is threatening to sue. Your stepmother's broker suspended her license." "I know." I sat down carefully, still mindful of my healing incision. "Would you like to see why?" I opened the manila folder and began laying out documents on the coffee table. Security camera screenshots showing Josephine using my card. Bank statements with timestamps matching my surgery. Social media posts bragging about their plans. "This is ridiculous." Josephine snatched up one of the photos. "We were going to pay you back." "With what money?" I asked quietly. "The money you spent on first-class upgrades? The spa packages? Noel's cruise ticket?" "You ungrateful," my father started, but I cut him off. "I was in surgery." My voice cracked slightly. "You didn't even wait until I was out of surgery before you started spending. We deserved that vacation." Josephine's mascara was starting to run. "After everything we've done for you." I pulled out my phone and played a recording, Josephine's voice, weeks before my surgery, whispering about timing the cruise just right. The color drained from her face. "The fraud department has everything," I said, laying out more papers. "The identity theft charges for using my name at the ship's spa, the continued card use after being notified of the investigation, the threatening emails you sent to the bank. You're destroying this family," my father shouted. "No." I stood up slowly. "You did that when you decided your luxury cruise was more important than your daughter's surgery recovery." A car horn beeped outside. Aaron's signal. "I'm moving today," I said, picking up my bags. "Don't try to find me. You can't just leave." Josephine grabbed my arm. "We are being audited. Your father's job is under review. They're talking about pressing charges." I carefully removed her hand. "Actions have consequences. We're your parents," my father bellowed. "No," I replied, opening the front door. "You're just people who saw me as an ATM with a pulse. You've ruined us forever." Josephine screamed as I walked to Aaron's car. I turned back one last time. "You ruined yourselves. I just provided the receipts." Aaron helped me into his car as my father and Josephine continued shouting from my doorstep. In the rearview mirror, I could see Josephine dramatically collapsing onto my front steps, wailing about family betrayal. "You okay?" Aaron asked as we drove away. "They're exactly who I knew they were," I said quietly. I just finally stopped pretending otherwise. My phone buzzed, a text from Julius. "Your father just tried to dispute the fraud charges again. The bank has referred the case to our legal department." Then another message from Rachel. "OMG, your stepmother is having a meltdown on Facebook Live about ungrateful children and family loyalty. Want me to block them on your social media?" Aaron offered. "Already did." I watched my old house disappear in the mirror. Their posts are still public though. The fraud department might find them interesting. "Speaking of interesting," Aaron grinned. "Did you see the cruise line's official response to their complaint? It's going viral." I hadn't. But I could imagine. The cruise line's fraud department had been particularly thorough in documenting everything. My phone buzzed again, Noel this time. "Mom's crying on the kitchen floor. Dad's talking about bankruptcy. How could you do this to them?" I blocked her number too. As we pulled up to my new apartment building, I felt lighter somehow. The surgery incision was healing well, and soon there would be no visible scars from that chapter of my life. "Ready?" Aaron asked, reaching for my bags. I looked at my phone one last time. Another text from Julius. "Final update, criminal charges are being considered. Do not engage with them directly." "Ready," I said, stepping into my new life, leaving the sounds of Josephine's dramatic sobs and my father's threats far behind. Some people say revenge doesn't solve anything, but sometimes it's exactly the medicine you need to heal. Your stepmother used your identity at 6 different spa locations on the ship. Julius explained during our final meeting, spreading photographs across my new kitchen table. She signed your name, used your birth date, even claimed your medical allergies as her own. It had been 3 weeks since my confrontation with my family, and the consequences of their actions were still unfolding like a slow-motion train wreck. The cruise line's legal team is particularly interested in this detail, he continued, pointing to a spa waiver. Falsifying medical information creates significant liability issues. Rachel, who'd brought lunch, leaned in to look. Is that why they're pressing separate charges? Partly. Julius pulled out more documents. The cruise line doesn't take kindly to fraud. They're making an example of this case. My phone buzzed. A news alert about a local real estate agency. The headline made me wince. Prominent realtor under investigation for fraud and identity theft. Your stepmother's broker saw that, Julius noted. They've terminated her contract permanently. Aaron, who was updating my security cameras, called from the living room. Hey, you might want to see this. We gathered around his laptop. Noel was doing another Instagram live, mascara running down her face. My mom lost her real estate license because of my stepsister's vindictive lies. We might lose our house. Please share our GoFundMe. Bold strategy, Rachel muttered, publicly admitting to fraud while asking for money. Julius made a note. The bank's legal team will want to see that. My phone lit up with a text from my father's sister. Your father's being let go from his job. The fraud investigation triggered an ethics review. How could you do this to your own family? I blocked her number and added it to the documentation file. Speaking of consequences, Julius said, pulling up an email. Your father's attempts to dispute the charges have backfired spectacularly. Each time he contacts the bank, he provides more evidence of their intentions. How so? Aaron asked. He keeps referencing conversations and plans made before the surgery, proving premeditation. Julius smiled slightly. The bank's lawyers are quite pleased. Rachel refreshed the cruise forum on her phone. The story's everywhere now. Someone recognized Josephine from her real estate ads and connected everything. The comments are brutal. The cruise line banned them for life, Julius added. They've been added to a shared security database used by most major cruise companies. My phone buzzed again. Another voicemail from my father. The mortgage company is foreclosing. We'll be homeless because of you. If you have any heart left, I deleted it mid-sentence. They're still trying to access their frozen accounts, Julius noted, checking his laptop. Each attempt is logged as potential evidence of continued fraud. Aaron called from the security monitor. They're here. Sure enough, my father's car was circling the apartment complex parking lot. Josephine was in the passenger seat, clearly trying to spot my new place. Don't worry, Aaron said. They can't get into the building without a key fob. And the security cameras are recording everything. Julius made another note. The restraining order hearing is next week. This footage will help. Rachel's phone chimed. Oh, wow. Your story just got picked up by a major financial news website. Family drains daughter's emergency fund during surgery for luxury cruise. The bank's PR team will love that. Julia said dryly. They're positioning themselves as advocates for fraud victims. My phone lit up with a text from Noel. Mum's being investigated for identity theft in 3 countries now. Are you happy? I added the screenshot to my documentation folder. The international charges are particularly serious, Julius explained. Using stolen identity documents across borders triggers additional legal scrutiny. Through the window I watched my father's car make another lap around the complex. Josephine was now openly taking pictures of every building. Should we call the police? Rachel asked. No need. Julius gathered his papers. The behavior is being documented. It'll strengthen the restraining order case. He paused at the door. One more thing. The bank president wants to use your case as an example in their fraud prevention training. After he left, I sat with Rachel and Aaron, watching my family's car finally give up and drive away. You know what's ironic? Rachel said, scrolling through the news coverage. They wanted a memorable Mediterranean cruise. Now they're famous for it, just not how they planned. Aaron checked the security footage one last time. Think they'll ever understand what they did wrong? I looked at my phone. Another blocked call from my father, another angry text from Noel, another social media rant from Josephine about ungrateful children. No, I said quietly. But they'll definitely remember the consequences. My incision had healed completely now, leaving only a faint scar. Unlike the invisible ones my family had left over the years, this one I could be proud of. It marked the moment I stopped being their ATM and started being myself. The bank lobby was quiet as I walked in, holding the decoy debit card that had started it all. Aaron and Rachel flanked me like protective bodyguards, though we all knew they weren't really needed anymore. Miss Reynolds, Julius greeted me, standing from his desk. Ready to close this chapter? I nodded, placing the card on his desk. More than ready. He pulled out a pair of scissors. Would you like to do the honors? Before I could answer, the lobby doors burst open. Josephine stormed in, followed by my father and Noel. They looked different, cheaper clothes, darker circles under their eyes, the weight of consequences heavy on their shoulders. "Stop!" Josephine shouted. "We're here to make things right." Security moved toward them, but Julius held up his hand. "Let's hear this." My father stepped forward, holding an envelope. "We've borrowed money from everyone we know. We can repay the cruise charges. Just drop the fraud charges. Please." "It's not about the money," I said quietly. "It never was." "Then what do you want?" Noel demanded. "Mom lost her career. Dad lost his job. We're losing the house. What more do you want from us?" I wanted parents who wouldn't steal from their daughter during surgery. My voice was steady. I wanted a family who saw me as more than an ATM. "We said we're sorry," Josephine wailed, mascara already running. "What else can we do?" Julius cleared his throat. "Actually, there's nothing you can do. The criminal charges aren't up to Miss Reynolds anymore. The bank and cruise line are pursuing this independently." "But she's family," my father protested. "Family." I picked up the scissors. Family doesn't empty emergency funds for luxury cruises. Family doesn't commit identity theft. Family doesn't blame the victim for the consequences of their own actions. "The court date is set for next month," Julius added. "I suggest you direct your energy toward legal representation, rather than hot cement." Josephine collapsed into a chair, her designer knockoff purse falling open. "We'll be ruined." "You ruined yourselves," I said, positioning the scissors around the debit card. "I just provided the evidence." "Wait!" My father lunged forward. Security stepped between us. "That card is our last chance to fix this. The card is being terminated," Julia stated firmly. "And if you continue this behavior, you'll be arrested for violating the restraining order." I met my father's eyes. "You taught me that actions have consequences. Consider this your final lesson to me." The scissors sliced through the card with a satisfying snap. Noel started crying. "What are we supposed to do now?" "That's not my problem anymore." I handed the card pieces to Julius. "I'm not your safety net, not your ATM, not your victim. Security will escort you out," Julius said to my family. "Any further attempts to contact Miss Reynolds will result in immediate legal action." As security led them away, Josephine turned back one last time. "We're still your parents." "No," I replied. "You're just people who taught me exactly who not to be." After they were gone, Julius handed me a final document. "The bank would like to feature your case in our fraud prevention program. Your story could help others recognize and escape financial abuse." I signed the permission form without hesitation. "Ready to go?" Aaron asked. "One more thing." I pulled out my phone and unblocked their numbers one by one, deleting them permanently instead. No more messages. No more manipulation. No more guilt. Rachel hugged me. "Proud of you." Outside the sun was bright. Through the bank's windows I could see my family huddled around their old car, probably plotting their next attempt at avoiding consequences. "They'll never understand what they did wrong, will they?" Aaron asked. "No," I said, watching them drive away. "But they'll remember what it cost them." My phone buzzed. A text from Julius. "Final update. Their attempt to repay the cruise charges was rejected. The criminal case proceeds next month. You're free to move on with your life." Rachel linked her arm through mine. "Speaking of moving on, we're late for lunch." As we walked away from the bank, I felt the last weight lift from my shoulders. My surgery scar had faded to a thin silver line, a reminder that healing comes in many forms. Some people say, revenge doesn't solve anything. But sometimes, it's not about revenge at all. Sometimes it's about standing up and saying, "Never again." I didn't need their love, their approval, or their understanding. I just needed them to learn that I wasn't their ATM anymore. And that lesson? That was priceless. Aaron opened his car door. "Ready?" I looked back at the bank one last time, then smiled. "Ready. Because sometimes the happy ending isn't about forgiveness or reconciliation. Sometimes it's about walking away and never looking back. And that's exactly what I did. Thanks for watching. Take care, good luck."
After listening to today's story, perhaps it has raised some new questions in your mind, or maybe it has brought back some old memories. Every day on Reddit, new experiences and moments create fresh stories, and they connect all of us. Everyone has their own unique journey in life, and we all try to understand the world in our own way. These kinds of moments remind us that we are all human, sometimes happy, sometimes sad, and always learning something new. If you enjoyed this story, feel free to share it with your friends. Your thoughts and feedback are always valuable to us, as they motivate us to create even better content. Every story has its own unique angle, and our goal is to understand everyone's perspective and make our content diverse and relatable. Stories like these help us realize that life's journey is different for everyone, and by hearing other stories, we learn something new. You can also share your own stories with us. Your experiences are valuable to us as well, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave your feedback. We aim to create content that brightens your mind and gives you new ideas every time. If you've already seen this video before, your feedback is still important. With every piece of feedback, we can improve our content and bring a new perspective to our viewers. Today, what we saw was just a small part of the many stories shared on Reddit and across the world. It's a reminder of how we all try to understand life by sharing our experiences with each other. This video was only an example of how we try to connect with others through storytelling, learning about different sides of life. We hope to continue sharing such stories that help us all learn and grow together. Thank you for your time, and don't forget to keep an eye out for more stories coming soon. If you haven't already, please like and follow for more amazing content. Your support keeps us going, and we will strive to bring you more thought-provoking and heartwarming stories. Until next time, take care and